What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm going to show you how to brew on a pour over. Specifically, again, the Hario V60 pour over. So here we have it. This is basically it. This is just kind of a cute addition that I enjoy, but by all means you can brew this right onto the top of a mug. You can just set this on a mug and get it going. So I'm going to be weighing out some of this Zambia AA from Looney Bean Coffee up in Bishop, California. And let me go over really quick a couple of the things that are going to help you really pull off a good pour over. A, obviously it's going to be the actual pour over itself. B, filters for said pour over. C, hot water, obviously. D, a scale, especially if you're doing ratios, because if you're doing ratios, that's pretty much the only way you can tell. There are marking lines on the side of this, but I highly recommend the scale. But today we are going to be weighing out to 30 grams of coffee. So I put my little ramekin on here, I tore out the scale, and we are just going to weigh up to 30. And then as for the water, when you're boiling water for brewing coffee, the kettle that I have has this handy dandy little thermometer on the top of it. So that helps out a lot. But what you're looking for is you want to boil the water to 200 degrees. And that is pretty much your ideal little area for brewing coffee. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius, but I'm sure I can figure that out and put that right here. For the filters for a V60 pour over, you're going to do a couple things. There's a little ridge in the top of the, or at least rather on the side of the filter. You're going to want to fold that over really crispy. So you're going to fold that over, and that is going to essentially help it round out. Now another thing I like to do to really help this bend is I like to take it and open it towards the bend and flatten it out that way, and then just bend and then flatten out the crease again, and then just drop it on in. So I already have this boiled to 200 degrees. I actually went a little bit over, so I've let it rest until it got back down to that temperature. You're going to want to rinse your filter first initially, so we're going to do that right now. You don't have to use a whole lot of water for this, obviously, just enough to get the filter wet. It's also going to help temper the carafe underneath, or the mug that you're using. We can go ahead and dump that on out now. Now next, we're just going to add our coffee right on in. Now one thing I like to do is try to flatten that bed a little bit. And then I also like to add a little dimple. It doesn't have to be deep, just kind of a little boop. Kind of a rule of thumb is when you begin blooming this, because that's what you're going to want to do next, you're going to want to bloom this before you start actually brewing it. So I have 30 grams of ground coffee in there. I'm going to want to put in about 60 grams of water. And that is going to help it bloom, which releases CO2. If I got that wrong, again, I'm going to put the right description here, but that helps it release gases. It starts soaking up a little bit of water. So whatever amount of coffee you put in, you're going to want to double that amount for the water that you're going to put in for the bloom phase. Okay, so now we can start. So I am going to just nicely, and then you're going to want to pour in kind of a spiral pattern. There is 60. I also like to give it a move so that all of the grounds are wet and there's no clumps and everybody's all incorporated. Now this is where a timer is going to come in. So I have a timer on my scale, but you can find a timer. Basically you just need a stopwatch. And you're going to want to let it bloom for between, depending on how you like, how you might want to do it, what you find works for you. I tend to bloom it between 30 to 45 seconds, depending on which coffee I'm using. Really, I usually will just start to pour once I stop seeing bubbles form on top of the coffee, which is essentially now. And that was 45 seconds. I like to hold my kettle from the underside with a rag or an oven mitt. It helps me feel like I have a good bit of control over the kettle, because if you're doing it one-handed, it works fine, but it can be just a little bit unwieldy. So I like to have this to stabilize it. And then it's really good to try to pour with as even a stream as possible. Just try to keep it consistent throughout the entirety of the brew. Some people will brew their V60 and do an initial drawdown. So that's where you fill it with about half the liquid amount that you want, and then you let that draw down and brew through, and then they start it once again. I don't really do that because overall I haven't found there to be a huge difference between how my coffee usually comes out. So you can, I don't, it's not important to me. So I reached 500 grams. So that was 30 grams of coffee to 500 grams of hot water. And now I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Again, I just like to keep everything moving a little bit. And then that also helps the bed, the coffee bed, settle nice and flat. And then again, I'm going to give it another little spin, because also that helps the coffee bed lay flat as well. And that makes for a good kind of flow for the water going through the coffee. So yeah, now we just kind of wait for it. Always keep an eye on your time, so that if you want it to be faster, slower, if you find that it's over extracted, under extracted, these are all factors that can help you figure out how to make the brew that's best for you. Check the time, check the weight, check pretty much everything. The kind of coffee you're using, what kind of notes you're really looking for. Just having this kind of level of control really helps with kind of crafting, crafting that perfect cup that you would want. Alrighty, so our coffee is done brewing. We have a very nice flat coffee bed in there. I like looking at it, it looks so pretty. Anyway, we are just going to toss that, and then I like to rinse this immediately or else it starts to stain. Now I can turn off my scale / timer. I'm gonna move this back over here. So that took about 4 minutes overall to brew. I'm gonna grab my mug. It's over there. And yeah, so basically that is it. Going back to the gooseneck kettle that I was using. But again, you can just use a regular hot water kettle. It's still going to achieve the goal of getting hot water onto coffee, but overall, it'd be preferable to use a gooseneck, just for quality control. Other than that, it doesn't matter. But yeah, congratulations. You brewed a pour over with me. I hope it came out good for you. I'm going to try mine and tell you what I think. I'm also going to tell you a little bit of what I think of the Looney Bean coffee. This, by the way, is my favorite coffee shop in Bishop, California. Every time I'm up there, if I'm driving through to go to Mammoth or anything, this is a non-negotiable. This is a non-negotiable stop. We must stop there, no matter what hour of the day is. As long as they are open, I'm going to stop there. And now, just so I can get a really good taste of this, I'm going to spoon it. Oddly enough, I can say that it's one of those rare occasions for me where I find that the tasting notes that they put on their bag actually match what I taste. I'm gonna go for one more. It's very chocolatey, with a very subtle kind of fruity background, but mostly chocolate, and I'd say like kind of dark chocolate and like jam, like those little fruit-filled dark chocolates. That's kind of the vibe I get from this. Anyway, thank you for coming along and letting me show you how to brew on a pour over, on a V60 pour over, and yeah, I hope this helped you out a lot. If you don't have a V60, I hope this kind of inspired you to get one, because in my opinion, if you've got a little bit of extra time in the morning, I much prefer to brew this way, and the consistency that I get from it is why I enjoy it so much. Anyway, I hope this helped you. I hope you got something out of this. I hope this has enhanced whatever you do in your morning routine of brewing. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Please follow along for more. Please like and subscribe and comment all of the good things. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Thank you.